Your company spent serious money on a modern data stack, but in leadership meetings, executives still argue over how to define active users. When this happens, a common reflex is to call for a completely new data strategy. The thinking goes that because the current dashboards aren't useful, the strategic foundation must be flawed. Often, when leadership asks for better dashboards or better alignment, they aren't asking to change the company's destination. They are describing a breakdown in how data is delivered and understood, which makes this an execution problem, not a strategic one. Confusing the two burns budget. You end up buying new tools to solve a planning gap, or you hire expensive strategy consultants when you actually just need tighter engineering pipelines. Distinguishing between a missing map and a broken engine allows you to deploy capital where it will actually fix the bottleneck. Data strategy is your organizational why. It focuses on the outcomes, what capabilities the business needs over a 2-year horizon, and exactly what decisions the data should improve. Data execution is the how. This is the tangible work of building pipelines, implementing governance frameworks, and monitoring the quality of the data flowing through the system. This quadrant matrix maps the friction between those two sides. On the horizontal axis, we have technical execution, and on the vertical, strategic direction. If you invest in platforms without defining the decisions they support, you end up in the unused report zone. The engineering might be high quality, but the tools don't support core business objectives. Conversely, spending months on strategy documents with no operational follow-through leads to operational paralysis. Your execution teams are left without the architecture or processes to move. Living in either extreme guarantees failure. You either pile on unusable technical debt, or you produce strategy decks that never become reality. For early-stage companies and time-poor leaders, the default is often the build-first approach. The immediate priority here is speed. Teams spin up pipelines and dashboards quickly to show immediate technical velocity. In the short term, this provides quick access to raw data and the appearance of a functioning data organization. But because the why wasn't defined, technical debt accumulates. You end up with a library of reports that no one uses and metrics that change every time a new question is asked. To diagnose your situation, look at this split-screen comparison. Strategy failures on the left, execution failures on the right. When strategy is the bottleneck, leadership questions if metrics are relevant, and the roadmap changes weekly to chase new ad hoc requests. Prioritizing building speed without a strategic filter eventually throttles growth, as the team spends more time fixing old reports than delivering new insights. On the other side, mature enterprises and risk-averse leaders often lean into a plan-first approach. This involves comprehensive roadmaps, strict governance planning, and alignment meetings across every department. This creates clear long-term direction and mitigates risk, ensuring everyone theoretically agrees on the path forward. But it creates massive operational bottlenecks. Progress is slow, and leadership is forced to say no to nearly all immediate requests while waiting for the perfect framework to be finished. Looking back at the right side of our table, we can see the signs of an execution-led failure. In these organizations, the strategy decks are impressive, but technical progress is painfully slow. Data disputes remain common because the implementation hasn't caught up to the theory.
Heavy planning without execution velocity destroys technical morale. Stakeholders eventually lose trust in the data department when they can't get answers in a reasonable timeframe. To bridge these two worlds, you need the alignment loop, a 3-step framework that connects strategic direction directly to technical delivery. Step 1 is defining the metric. You tie your strategy to a single business outcome, like a 5% increase in retention. This forces you to deprecate the legacy reports that don't support that goal. Step 2 moves to execution. Teams must define that specific metric in a centralized semantic layer rather than in individual dashboards. This requires upfront technical labor. It means analysts aren't allowed to build visualizations until the underlying metrics are certified and the data quality is monitored. Step 3 is enforcing accountability. Strategy leaders and execution teams must share ownership of the final outcome, closing the gap between the why and the how. This loop prevents strategy leaders from blaming the data and keeps execution teams from complaining about unclear requirements. If you are an early-stage builder, you need to intentionally slow down. Implementing basic governance now is the only way to avoid the disputes that will otherwise stall your growth as you scale. For mature planners, the advice is the opposite.
Stop drafting decks and start shipping imperfect pipelines to validate your strategy in the real world. If you're a department head caught in the crossfire, use the alignment loop to clarify exactly what you need from IT and what results you are promising the C-suite. Strategy sets the destination. Execution builds the road. Accepting the friction of linking these two disciplines ensures that every technical hour spent building is directly tied to a business decision